Just gonna adjust my camera and wait for some people to show up in the stream. Well, hi everybody, whoever may be watching later this stream. We'll just wait for a couple of people to show up. So far, so bad. 30 seconds, nobody's in the chat room. That's okay, eventually they will. 6:30 right now, I'm on the East Coast. Yeah, so it's 3:30 back home. Alright, somebody's here, cool. Well, if you don't mind, let me know who you are and where you're from, whoever that is in the stream. I'm just curious to see where people are from. So I guess we'll wait. Oh, there's 7 suddenly. Cool. Alright, well, 7 people, good enough for me. You know, if more join later, cool. And if not, then Jay from Central Arkansas. Very good. Alright, Midnight Man, Texas listening. Good, my friend. Thanks for joining. So anyway, I titled this stream, we are, the nuclear war is on our doorstep, basically. Blossom Tree says, hi, I am Pam, I am from New Athens, Illinois. Oh, very good, Guy. Hello from California. Very good. Well, thanks for joining, everybody. Some of you are perhaps new. Oh, Andre Bauer. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining. And some of you are not. And I talk a lot about nuclear war in my streams, in my videos. And hi Brenda from Ohio. It is a scary topic, and I used to think nuclear war was something that is going to happen, but it's going to happen sometime in the future. I think the future is here, unfortunately. Hi Jackie. So anyway, Ivan from North California, good to see you here. Thank you for joining. So the reason why I say that is because, well, the war in the Ukraine, as you know, has been going on for, soon it's going to be 2 years, which is crazy. And it's not really going anywhere. The front line moves this way, then moves back a little bit, and in my opinion it seems like they're just playing with it. How can this even be real? I have my questions about this war. This war has a lot of unanswered questions for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you, because there is many weird things that happen in this war. Just yesterday, I was passing through PA, and I met with NY Prepper, and we were talking about this very thing. And this war, just look at few key moments in this war. Russian forces took Kherson, and then they just left. For what they sacrificed all the men just to walk out? Same thing, they came close to Kiev, then they turned around and left. And this war, it reminds me of some kind of a yo-yo, up and down, up and down. People are dying by hundreds pretty much on a daily basis from both sides. And this war is ridiculous. But besides this war being crazy, what's coming and what's happening concerns me in a way that from all these events, I I think nuclear war is going to come out. And here's why. If you're watching news, you have seen for the past couple of months Ukrainian attacks on Russia, Moscow, various Air Force bases, just Pskov, just various regions. And I know those drone attacks, they are not exactly something that will stop Russia, no, but they're getting more and more frequent. They're pretty much on a daily basis. And now they say, the Ukraine says they're gonna take back Crimea. Okay, here's my opinion. I could be wrong. I'm not a war expert. I'm just thinking. Putin, in my opinion, will never give up Crimea. I don't think it's just gonna happen, He took it away. He did a bunch of development there. I doubt he's gonna just give it away back to Ukraine. Which means, in my opinion, and I hope I'm wrong, if Ukraine will start not just sending a couple of drones here and there, but truly storm and try to attack and with attempt to take Crimea back, I think it's going to probably provoke nuclear war. Because there is, from the beginning of the war, Putin had all kinds of red lines. And he, as you can see, NATO, Ukraine, they crossed all his red lines. And he's not so far doing anything about it. And if he doesn't do anything about it, and I want you to understand, I'm not taking Putin's side. I'm just looking at the situation objectively. If he doesn't do anything about it, he's going to be the biggest joke. He's going to be laughter. So, in my opinion, to save his face, he will have to do something crazy. Either throw a few nuclear bombs, maybe some tactical nukes, on Ukrainian forces, maybe on some Ukrainian cities, or maybe do some super massive drone and missile attack. I have no idea. But here is another thing. We know from the news, from what they let us know, Ukraine is getting Leopards, Ukraine is getting Bradleys, Ukraine is getting F-16s, Ukraine is getting all of these Patriots, missiles, Abrams tank, and so on and so forth. How do we know that's true? Well, what they say is probably true. But how do we know that's just what they're getting? We don't know that. We can only assume, we can just assume that this is what they're reporting, that's what they're getting. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Ukraine already would have some kind of missiles, longer range missiles with nuclear warheads. I would not be surprised. Because here is an example of this possibility. F-16s that are coming over to Ukraine. I used to be one of those people who used to think, well, F-16, it's just, number one, it's older airplane. So what, it's no big deal, it's just another fighter. But there is a big deal about it. Because F-16 are being sent to Ukraine not to do dogfight in the air. They are being sent to Ukraine essentially as a launching pad for all kinds of NATO missiles. Because F-16 is most common NATO airplane. Therefore, you can launch any NATO missile, nuclear or non-nuclear, from an F-16. So they don't even need to take it up in the air and try to do fight with other Russian fighters with air-to-air missiles. No, they can just go up in the air with nice missile or two and just launch those missiles from the air, those air-to-surface missiles. And they could be with regular warheads or they could be with nuclear warheads. And so F-16 going over to Ukraine is a big deal. And in my opinion, the way they are attacking right now, Russia, Crimea, I don't think they're going to think twice, the Ukrainians. If NATO give them any kind of nuclear weapons, they're not going to think twice about using them. I believe they already said several months ago, if they had nuclear weapons, they would already use them. So I have no doubt they will use them. And then if that happens, it's on. And who knows what the engine would be like. So, my opinion, if Ukraine truly tries to take over Crimea, in my opinion, that might spark a nuclear war. Because all the red lines have been crossed. Every red line Putin drew has been crossed. Few days ago, Sergei Lavrov said that they're ready to settle it on the battlefield. You see all these airplanes, all these doomsday planes up in the air, Russian doomsday planes, American, Polish. It looks like every country is truly gearing up for a nuclear war. And I don't think it's just gearing up, just a show, practice. I think we're really close. We're coming really close to it, in my opinion. And if Putin, for example, launches a few nukes at the Ukraine, what is going to happen? Is NATO going to launch nukes back at Russia in defense of Ukraine? Or are they going to just go and, try to come to some agreement with him? Offer him some land, some more land of Ukraine? I don't know. Because, okay, these missiles were not nuclear. However, these missiles that fell a few months ago on Polish territory and killed a couple of farmers, NATO didn't do anything about it. They didn't care, or they just didn't want to make bigger problem out of it. What's going on? Now with Romania. So there is just I'm curious if, for example, if Putin would attack Baltic countries, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, would NATO do anything about it? Yes, they're part of NATO and supposedly attack on one, attack on all. However, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I could be wrong, they use some of those countries that were part of Soviet Union or part of Warsaw Pact just like Soviet Union was using those countries for a buffer for them. In my opinion, right now, NATO is using them for a buffer. Same thing. Those countries, Eastern European countries, Baltic countries, they're just being used and abused. Before by the Soviets, now by the NATO. In my opinion. I could be wrong. So in my opinion, if Putin would attack Baltic countries, in my opinion, I don't think NATO would respond. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, same thing with Crimea. If Ukraine attacks Crimea and Putin responds with nuclear weapons, are NATO gonna, let's see, are NATO going to respond to that with nuclear weapons? Because let's remember, even if let's say United States would decide to attack Russia first and try to destroy as many nuclear weapons and systems and control systems as they possibly can. Russia has that dead hand, which in the event that everybody is killed, it will still launch whatever's left over. And let's not forget submarines. They have submarines. Maybe not as many. Maybe there is not as many nuclear missiles on those submarines as there is on American ones. Nevertheless, they're still there. And those submarines could be cruising coasts of the United States right now. Probably Britain too. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. So let's see, Cowboy 8, good to see you. Josephine, hi. Thanks for joining. Sin, Koi, good to see you here. Andre Bauer says, Russia acting like a loser. Yeah, here is another thing about Russia and how they act. They could be a loser, or they could be acting like a loser. But here is one thing that makes me worried. Putin, maybe he has some kind of plan. Maybe not. I don't know. However, you remember how Prigozhin tried to do a coup in Moscow, and then he turned around and left. And I was thinking to myself, Prigozhin is a dead man. But I thought it would take a long time before Putin would kill him. No, it only went, how long? 2-3 months? And there is no Prigozhin. The head of that, what do you call that? That group, Wagner Group. And here's what I'm thinking, Putin, all his red lines have been crossed, and people start to doubt if he's a strong person. West starts to laugh at him, and he may be sitting quietly, and he may say, okay, you guys laugh a little bit more, and then when everybody's relaxed, he might launch nukes, and then he will have a last laugh. I don't know. I hope not. One thing for sure, I always pray that I would not be somewhere where I am right now if nuclear war strikes. I'm right now in Maryland. Somebody's calling me. Okay. I'm right now in Maryland. I'm 3,000 miles away from my home, from my family. And honestly, I pretty much on a daily basis pray that if and when nuclear war or some crazy event, doesn't have to be nuclear war, maybe Yellowstone will erupt. When some crazy event takes place, I pray that I'll be home. However, I would take care of my wife and kids and try to be near the rest of my family, my parents, my brother, my sister. Because if nuclear war strike right now, I don't know, let's pretend only few nuclear bombs would explode in Europe, in Ukraine or anywhere in Europe, and none here, at least not yet. Just can you imagine the chaos that would take place everywhere? I don't even know if you would have gas stations working at that point. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they would close and say we need to save gas to send it to Ukraine or for whatever else. I don't know. So I think as a Christian, I always try to say it, and I must say it. We, right now, more than ever, we need to get closer to Jesus. Because in Him is our refuge, truly. Because if He doesn't save us, nothing will save us. Or all our preparation, not gonna mean anything. Let's see. Rip Curl Readiness says, will NATO, USA, and other countries respond in kind of small tactical nukes are used, or will it escalate to full nuclear strikes? Yeah, that's my question too. I think it's anyone's guess. How will they respond, and how they will respond? Was just, let's say Putin throws 5 nukes on the Ukraine. Is NATO and the USA going to throw 5 nukes at Russia? Are they going to bomb Russia itself, or are they just going to bomb Russian occupied territory in the Ukraine? There's just so many questions that no one really has answer. Let's see. Highland Husky says, if the Crimea bridge is hit, it goes next level. Yeah, they already hit it 2 times, and each time there was big missile strike on the Ukraine. So I don't know. I doubt they're gonna stop their attempt to destroy the bridge. I think they'll continue trying. The Watchman says we're already past the threshold for nuclear war. If we had missiles and drones hitting Washington D.C. and Navy ships sunk, we'd already be. Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, Ukraine sunk their submarine. Ukraine hitting Moscow, hitting other various places. I don't know. To me, I'm surprised that there is no nuclear war yet. I think it can happen pretty much any day now. Okay, my mom Raisa Kowal says, God bless you and keep you safe always. Thanks, Mom. You too. I pray that God keeps me safe and lets me be home if and when something like this happens. Rip Curl Readiness says, well, I know here in my little town, P-8s and other aircraft are landing and headed out to patrol the west coast every day. Another one on a flight tracker. Yeah. So we are on alert. Yeah, exactly. That's a good sign. If they're not on a flight tracker, that's exactly what it means. Is we are on a high alert. because they're doing their thing and their responders are off. Watchman, the only next move, if it's the Pacific Theater, is Taiwan. Maybe, yeah. I'm surprised also that China hasn't made their move on Taiwan yet, to be honest. And Watchman says, off-grid Paul says tanks and other assets are heading toward Taiwan. Yeah, it's true, they are. All right, Highland Husky says, I'm about 7 hours south of the first strike zone. 7 hours is pretty good. Let me give you an example. Many of you, most of you know about big accident on Chernobyl power plant back in 1986. I remember this day well. I think it was April 26th of 86, something like that. It was 86. I was in school, I remember, when we heard the news. And by the way, those news came around already a few days after the accident, because Soviet government tried to keep it hush-hush, and then they just couldn't keep it, I guess, quiet, so they had to let everybody know what happened. And I'm from Kharkov, Ukraine. Chernobyl was and is 350 miles, I think. Or, no, I think if you take road, it's like 450 miles as a crow flies, maybe 300, 350, something like this. I have to look and check. But let's say 300 to 400 miles from Kharkov. Now, this accident happened how long ago now? 37 years ago? And here's the good news. My city, Kharkov, it's been destroyed right now with the war, but as far as radiation, as far as I know, it's fine. Plus, if you take in consideration that any meltdown on a power plant is far worse than any nuclear bomb, because nuclear bomb, if it explodes, especially if they do airburst, there is a lot of destruction, but not that much radiation. Plus, radiation breaks down every day. In a matter of 1 month, 30 days, radiation where bomb was exploded, if there was an airburst, is pretty much gone. After 2 weeks, it's already safe to come out from your bunker, if you have one, or wherever you'd be hiding. So, nuclear bomb, of course, is dangerous. Of course, it's crazy, lots of destruction, radiation. But meltdown on a nuclear power plant is a lot worse. So if you are 7 hours away from first strike zone, let's say 7 times 6, 60 miles an hour, that's 400 plus miles. 400 plus miles, as a crow flies, maybe 300 miles. Depends. Because, for example, Portland and Seattle, they are only 170 miles on the road or as a crow flies, because it's just straight shot up on I-5. So it just depends. It could be 300 miles as a crow flies where you live, or could be same over 400 miles. And so if they strike whatever they strike and it's 7 hours away from you, in my opinion, it's pretty safe, especially if you have bunker. Even if you don't have a bunker, in the Ukraine, in my city, Kharkov, nobody was hiding in the bunker when Chernobyl blew up. What they were doing on a daily basis, they were watering the streets to keep the dust down, and they did that for a long time, I think all summer long. Anyway, in general, back in the Soviet days, they used to water the streets to clean it, to keep the dust down, but they did even more so after an accident on a Chernobyl power plant. And that's it. I heard in Italy, when we were migrating to the United States, we were in Italy for over almost 4 months. And we learned from those people that they would not drink milk for the entire month, and then they started to just go back to normal. So nuclear war is crazy, dangerous, but it is survivable. If you don't get blown away, if you're not located where target is, and targets are in all kinds of military bases or anything to do with military or something big with government, and also power plants. Those are nuclear targets. So if you are far away from nuclear target, chances are, even if you are not in a bunker, chances are you might be okay. A lot also depends which direction wind blows. So anyway, for best results, of course, you're best off having a bunker. If you have a bunker, that's the way to go. That's the way to do it. Or a basement, at least basement in your house, where you could stay for a couple of weeks. But if you don't, a lot depends on the wind, a lot depends on burst of the nuclear weapon, whether it was air burst or ground burst. There is lots of variables. Okay, Rip Curl Readiness says, I'm in one of the safe zones, but is that a good thing? Yeah, of course. Why would that be a bad thing? I think it's a great thing if you're in a safe zone. In my opinion, Oregon is, to my knowledge, it's very safe state. And of course, if you're on the East Coast, you're not going to run to Oregon. You won't be able to. How are you going to cover 3,000 miles, when there will be probably busted infrastructure, roads, bridges, probably gas stations won't work. You need to, wherever you live, you need to look and find place where you could potentially go. If it's a nuclear war, or if it's some other crazy event, but you need to have plan in mind. Shout out to NY Prepper, but on his website, which is nyprepper.com, you can see he lists all the nuclear targets. And so you can see how far away are you from a nuclear target. Very useful tool, indeed. Okay, let's see. What else? Well, I think I covered what I wanted to cover. Let's see, Chris Belvedere says they moved people back to Fukushima 6 months after the accident. Yeah, they did. I don't know if that was a good idea or not. Chernobyl, for example, in the Ukraine is still just empty place. By the way, interesting thing about Chernobyl, there were lots of, after the accident, animals population just exploded. Lots of wolves, bears, everything you can think of, and they look pretty healthy. There were also some people, not too many people, but some, they refused to get evacuated, and they lived there, and it's been now 36 years, so they probably are dead by now anyway, from old age, but they were fine for a number of years. They lived there. I don't know how to explain that. How come that radiation did not kill them, or how the radiation is not killing those animals? There's a video on YouTube called Wolves of Chernobyl. If you're interested, check that video out. It's just mind-boggling. How come all these animals are just like doing great there? And that supposedly is dangerous zone full of radiation. So I have no idea. No explanation for that one. Anyway, so in a nutshell, if Ukraine attacks Crimea, in my opinion, it's probably a nuclear war. So I hope you're all ready as best as you can. You know, main thing is food and water and source of light, source of heat. Because look, one more thing. We are at the end of September. We are going into the winter. Which means if nuclear war strikes in the winter, it will be that much more difficult to survive. Because there will be cold weather, shorter daylight. I just made a video a couple of days ago called No Light. You can check that video out if you want. You know, it's a simple thing, but even if you have your basement, but if you don't have enough light, how are you going to survive for 2 weeks in your basement without a light? How are you going to even find a place where you're going to go to the bathroom or to sleep? You're just going to bump everywhere with your forehead. So light is critical. Make sure you have all sources of lights. Whether it's nuclear war or not, it doesn't matter. Any disaster, light is a must. Okay, Highland Husky says wood and more wood with the proper stove. Yeah, wood stove is amazing. If you have a wood stove, you're warm. You don't need no electronics to run that stove. Just put a piece of wood and you can cook on top of it. So if you have me right now, I rent a house. It's not my house. I cannot do anything about it. If it was my house, I would install a wood stove. And I recommend and advise every one of you, install the wood stove if you live in your own house. Because sooner or later you're gonna need it. Okay, let me see. Yeah, Guns Coast to Coast says wood stove for the win. Thanks, Guns. You know, shout out to Guns Coast to Coast. You know, he doesn't make too many videos lately, but if you just go to his channel, there are so many good videos. So I wish you would make more videos, my friend. I truly always look forward to your new videos. Yeah, definitely a man with sober thinking and with the kind of person that looks few steps ahead. So check out Guns Coast to Coast. You won't be disappointed, at least in my opinion. So, thanks Guns for telling me that I'm a good video maker. I have a long way to go. But I'm trying. You know, it's hard to make videos on the go because I am always driving. Today I dropped my load near Philadelphia, and you know, really close to Maryland actually. And I went over to Maryland because there was big truck stop where I wanted to stay, and I was hoping to get load today. No such thing. So no load. I'm waiting. Hopefully tomorrow, and therefore I have some free time. So I'm doing this live stream and sharing some of my thoughts and getting some of your thoughts back. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining. God bless you all. Get ready for a crazy event that is probably going to happen. By the way, I have couple more minutes of your attention. With all this craziness about nuclear war going on, there is another craziness on the rise, and you all know what it means. I think you do. You know, the situation where you need to cover your face. So in my opinion, sometimes I go back to my thinking that come to my mind back and forth so many times. Maybe all of it is orchestrated, including nuclear war. They need to get rid of people because you know what? Everybody is crazy stressed about nuclear war and what's going on in the Ukraine. Meanwhile, all this, BS about the bug start to get traction. In Russia, AI is being implemented everywhere. So they're not wasting any time. This is why, in my opinion, and I don't know, I go back and forth on this. I wonder if Putin is not just one of them. Maybe they're all just, playing their part. I don't know. We probably will never know, but there is a possibility, in my opinion. Anyway, God bless you, everybody. Take care. We'll see you in the next live stream and the next upload. By the way, don't forget to smash the like button for me and share it if you find it useful or interesting. And I'll see you next time. Take care.